everybody, welcome back to Life on the Prairies, and I am your host, Lindsay Rubeniuk. And today I'm going to talk to you about some questions that you should be looking at if you are thinking of immigrating to the country of Canada, or even more importantly, relocating within Canada. And I think that this information is very timely considering what is happening on the immigration scene, and specifically with the federal government of Canada. We're seeing a lot of competitiveness in our provincial nominee programs. We have seen a dramatic change in the international student programs. We have also seen, different things that are happening when it comes to labor market impact assessments. So there's so much that's happening. And if you are really interested in learning more about immigration and what's happening in terms of federal immigration, even provincial immigration, I suggest you hop onto LinkedIn, and there are some really, really great professionals out there, consultants and lawyers who speak about what's happening on the immigration scene in Canada. I like to talk more about the opportunities within our country, specifically where people can live and work. So that's really what I'm going to be focusing on. And hopefully I'll be able to do that for the next couple of podcasts. So I've created this series, and it's called, the series is basically called Let's Find Your Canadian Town. And I'm really hoping at the end of it to have a webinar where I'll be able to host it with a variety of people that are looking to perhaps move from large urban centers to, smaller communities in Canada, and, preferably rural communities, or if not rural communities, then just smaller urban centers. So that's kind of really what I'm hoping that we can gather at the end of my series, and really look at communities that are affordable, that are great places to live, and just to provide you with that insight. So if you are someone that's looking at immigrating or relocating within Canada, then I really think that you are going to find the next couple of podcasts very, very interesting. So I really hope that I can help you figure out the best place suited for you to live. For many people, deciding where to relocate or immigrate often boils down to affordability, or I would like to think it does. Maybe it doesn't, because a lot of people do tend to move to Toronto or Vancouver, and they don't find out till it's too late that it's just really expensive, it's unaffordable, and their quality of life is not really what they thought it would be. Without further ado, I am really going to just kind of address two topics I think you should really consider when you're thinking of relocating within Canada or you're immigrating to our great country. And so what's the first thing to consider? And I know a lot of people are going to be taken back by this, but I always say the great outdoors. So I go back to the time when we have the pandemic. And if there's anything we have learned, it is the importance of being able to access outdoor activities very easily. We know that restaurants, theaters, malls, bars, all of those things can be shut down in no time at all. With just basically the government saying, shut it down, everything can be shut down. And so we've learned that those kind of places are at risk for social connectivity. But the one place that we found that's not at risk for social connectivity is the great outdoors. So I always tell my clients when they're looking to relocate or immigrate to the country of Canada that they should look at communities that have really great outdoor activities and opportunities. And living close to outdoor activities offers such numerous benefits that can enhance your quality of life. And I kind of want to give you some key points highlighting the importance of living in close proximity to the great outdoors. So to picking a community where it takes you basically no time at all to access some really great activities you can do outdoors. And here's the importance of it. First and foremost, it enhances our physical health. So easy access to outdoor activities encourages more frequent participation in exercise such as hiking, biking, running, swimming. This increased physical activity can lead to better health, improved fitness overall, and you know what? Lower rates of obesity, right? So that's the first and foremost thing to consider is your physical health. Well, the other most important thing to health is our mental health, right? So engaging in outdoor activities has been shown to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Being in nature can boost mood and promote feelings of well-being, and the natural environment, it just provides such a calming effect that is beneficial for our mental health. So that's another thing that we need to take into consideration is not only our physical health, but as well as our mental health. And going back to what I said in terms of the great outdoors and why it's really important is because it provides social opportunities. Living near outdoor activities encourages social interactions, and simply meeting up with neighbors during outdoor events can lead to a sense of community. It can lead to a sense of belonging and really just improve social connections. Fourthly, I think that family bonding really happens when you take your family or you go out with your friends and you are hiking with them on a trail where you are skating, like when you're skating on some ice, when you are throwing the ball around to each other. And it really allows you to spend quality time together. So really engaging in outdoor activities can strengthen family bonds and create long-lasting memories. And that's, I think, what everybody wants at the end of the day. The other thing about living in a community that has great outdoor activities is it does really contribute to a strong work-life balance. So it can provide a necessary escape, from the hustle and bustle of our daily lives. So, if you live 30 minutes away from a provincial park, this will allow you to, hop in your car, maybe grab your paddleboard and head up to a lake and paddleboard for the evening. It doesn't matter what you want to do. It really creates that work-life balance because your connection and your ability to connect to the great outdoors is so easy. And I think point number 6 I have written down here is it certainly does increase property value. So homes located near parks, trails, recreational areas often have higher property values. And this can be a real important consideration for any home buyer as it provides both lifestyle benefits while you live there, as well as an investment in the real estate if you choose to sell it. The one thing I think that I've learned from my immigration clients, especially since they haven't, grown up in Canada, is the opportunities for learning and growth. So they've often come back to me and they said, you know what, we went and we did this activity and we really, learned a lot from it. And, it could be something as learning an organized sport. It could be something as participating in an educational program that's outdoors, or just to go skiing or snowboarding, right? And I've often heard from my clients as well is that they develop new skills and interests that they never ever thought they had. Because here's the thing is I live in Manitoba and yeah, you know what? It can get really, really cold here. I'm not going to lie to you. There are days when I sit inside at -50, but those are few and far between because even on the days where let's say it's -20, you can go out for a beautiful hike as long as you are dressed appropriately. You have a toque, you have proper boots on, you have mitts and a scarf. And when you get back from that walk, you feel so refreshed, you feel so rejuvenated, and you aren't having to stop at stoplights, wait for cars, you aren't having to listen to traffic, people honking your ears, right? So it's really important that you know what the outdoors can bring you. And I think lastly is environmental awareness. And that is really important, especially to our younger generations, our Generation Z, as well as our millennials, is that living close to nature enhances awareness and appreciation for our environment. And this ultimately can lead to a stronger commitment to conservation as well as sustainable living practices. So in conclusion, living close to the great outdoors supports a holistic lifestyle that encompasses your physical, your mental, and your social well-being. The accessibility to nature and recreational opportunities can really, really, truly enrich your life. So that's one thing I think that you all should consider if you're thinking of relocating from a larger urban center to somewhere else in Canada, or if you're looking at immigrating to Canada, is that you look at communities that have really great outdoor activities. And so how do you do this? Hop on their website, look for their economic development departments, see how much opportunity they have, what provincial and national parks are around them, if they have trails, if they have hikes that, in the winter that they plow so you can walk on them, if they have hikes during the summer and they keep the trails clean. What is it that community has and promotes for outdoor living? And you'd be surprised, there is a lot of communities that do this. So moving on though, the other thing you should consider is the affordability of a smaller community in Canada. And so why should you do that, right? Why should I consider moving to a smaller community in Canada that is more affordable, right? And there is really a variety of reasons to do this. And I guess the three things that, basically five, I'll say, but the first three things is it offers economic stability, personal well-being, and broader societal benefits. And, I also like to say it gives you more of an advantage in terms of climbing up the ladder. And, because everybody says, I would like to be a big fish in a small pond. Well, that's really what you are when you move to a smaller community or a smaller urban area, is that if you have a strong skill set, you'll be a larger fish in a big pond or in a smaller pond, right? So that gives you the advantage. And as I just mentioned about the outdoors, it really gives you room to breathe, figuratively and literally. I would like to move on to that in terms of affordability. And here are some reasons that I've written down that I found from my clients, when they thanked me for encouraging them to move to other places outside of the big urban centers like Vancouver, even Calgary, Toronto, all those places I do not promote people to move to. I say, if you're going to move somewhere like Edmonton, if you still want to live in a city, right? Or if you want to move somewhere, where it has really great outdoor activities and lots of interesting history, move to Moose Jaw. Or, Flinnaberry Flonatoon, right? Also known as Flin Flon. Those are great places to move to, which is located in Manitoba. So there's so many places to move to that I can recommend. And here's all really what they all have in common and why I really advocate for them. So the first and foremost is obviously economic stability. So affordable communities will allow individuals and families to manage their finances much more effectively. You will have lower costs of housing, and that means people can allocate more of their own income towards, let's say, saving, education, healthcare, and other essential needs. And let me touch on that. So when I say save for education, because oftentimes I'll have my clients and they'll be like, Lindsay, we want to live in a city where it has this really awesome university. So I always say to them, so you want to buy a house that's going to cost you $750,000, right? Pay that mortgage, maybe pay it half off, if that, with interest, and then kind of have this quality of life that you aren't really loving, just so in 15 years your child can go to that university. And what happens if your child doesn't want to go to that university? And secondly, when you do get to that point and you're living in a small town, let's say, you can always move and you'll have your house paid off. You'll be able to sell your house and you can reinvest that sale into a home in that large urban center. But at least for 15 to 20 years, you got to live in a smaller town that was a lot more affordable, get a lot better work experience, and again, be that big fish in a little pond. So economic stability 101. Living in a community that is affordable reduces financial stress. When people live in affordable communities, they are less likely to experience the burden of housing costs that tend to consume a large portion of their income. So if you follow housing, you should never spend more than, I think it's like 30 or 33% of your total income on housing and related costs. So people are now spending like over half, or I don't know, even more. And that is crazy. And that's causing so much financial stress because they can't save. They can't, have their kids participate in recreational activities. And if they are spending money, they're putting it on their credit card. So living in an affordable city actually reduces financial stress because, again, the cost of living is lower. And reducing financial stress can actually reduce anxiety. It can improve your mental health, as well as financial pressures are a significant source of stress for many individuals. So reducing that can reduce your stress. Going back to what I said is that affordable communities often have affordable housing. And this can free up resources for investing in education, skills training, as I said, personal development, holidays, going back home to see people, flying in your parents to visit you. There's so many things you can do because if you have more money, it allows you more freedom is what it does. So people are more likely to pursue further education or start a business when they are not overwhelmed by high costs, such as living in a large city with tremendous rent or a high mortgage, having commuting time. It all adds up. And the fourth thing I'd like to say is that affordable communities often foster community engagement, and they foster a greater sense of stability and cohesion. When people can afford to live in an area for a long-term time, they are more likely to build strong local networks and participate in community activities, right? So that is another benefit of living in an affordable community is community engagement. It allows you, instead of driving on the 401 for 2-3 hours to get to work, go to work, drive all that way back. You're spending your whole day driving and working just to pay a high mortgage cost, right? And if you didn't have that, if you didn't have such a long commute, such high mortgage, such other unaffordable things, then what that would do is it would allow you to participate more in community engagement. And the fifth one is economic diversity, right? So affordable communities often attract a diverse range of residents, including different income levels, professions, backgrounds, and it really can enrich the local culture and provide a more inclusive environment. So we're seeing more and more people of economic diversity and just different cultures move to rural and smaller urban areas. And it's creating such a great atmosphere for everybody. And we are seeing all these diversity, not only in culture, but we're seeing economic diversity. And it's just, again, participating and engaging with people from all income levels and backgrounds and professions is such a great thing to witness. Also, what I would like to say is that an affordable community offers accessibility to amenities, right? So residents are more likely to have access to essential services and amenities without facing exorbitant costs. So the cost to join a kid's baseball team, the cost to do yoga, the cost to participate in archery, to go to volunteer and, lead a 4-H group, to go to a quilting club, whatever it is, the costs are much lower in a rural area or a smaller urban center. And so this could even include things like public transportation, healthcare facilities, schools, their supplies, and again, recreational activities, right? And it, again, obviously, it improves your quality of life. And long-term sustainability can also be contributed to affordable communities because what it does, it actually helps prevent displacement of lower income residents. It reduces homelessness and supports diverse, vibrant neighborhoods. So affordable communities rarely see people living on the streets, if ever. And affordable communities really look out for all citizens. So there's always a place for people to live. There's a lower unemployment rate. And we just have basically those neighborhoods that look out for each other. And I think lastly, I'd like to also say is that it goes back to the great outdoors that I mentioned at the beginning, but also it's better health outcomes. So when you have lower cost of living, such again, you don't have high commute times, your housing costs are lower, so on and so forth, it can lead to better health outcomes. So families who are not stretched them financially can afford healthier food, access regular health care, and just plainly live in a safer environment. So in conclusion, living in an affordable community is essential, I say, for enhancing individual and communal well-being. It will support your financial health. It will promote access to education and basic needs. And, it will just produce and provide stability for you and your family. So my big takeaway from this little sermon I gave is that when you're looking at relocating or moving to somewhere other than a big urban center in Canada, is that you should look at communities that offer great outdoor activities, as well as the community should be affordable. I'm going to leave you with some links in my show notes, also my contact information if you want to get in touch with me. But I think this information that I provided you today is really important, especially if you're looking to be competitive, if you're looking for employment, if you're looking to just kind of separate yourself from those who have put themselves in a position where they find that living in large urban centers is unaffordable. They can't afford daycare, so on and so forth, right? I really want you guys to figure that out. And it's easier to do it right the first time than to have to pick up and leave everything, especially in terms of immigration. It's a little bit easier when you're looking at relocating, but in terms of immigration, it's preferable. And at this time in the immigration scene, it is truly important to get it right the first time, given provinces and the way how they look at people moving from one province to another, taking away points, whatever it may be, right? So this is kind of off the cuff podcast that I did. I just want to touch base with everybody, given all the craziness that's going on again with our immigration, in Canada in general, with just high cost of living. I want to let you know that there's hope. And I'm living proof of that. I live in a small town. I love it here. I really am good at what I do. I enjoy what I do, as well as I really love seeing the results of what I practice as well. And I really want to pass that on to everyone that I meet and that comes and works with me. So anyways, thank you for listening to Life on the Prairies. I am your host, Lindsay Rubeniuk, and I will be looking forward to talking with you the next time. Until then, live rural, live well.
And I will roam these dusty country roads. I've been searching all this time, and I think I'm